All right, hello boys and girls. This is Old Man Yells at Cloud for Blue Powder Monkeys Patreon. Uh-oh, I hear an echo. How's that? Haha, no echo. All right, cool. We are working on the Orycon book design today. It's getting near the end, so almost in its final form. We finally got the page number of pages locked down, which actually was kind of a deal. Probably a little more complicated than it needed to be, but no big deal in the long run. Also, I'm going to be working on my main computer here, so I gave you kind of the three-quarter view. Normally, I'm on the Cintiq tablet, and you get the front view of my pretty face, but this time it'll be kind of the side view of my pretty face in this pretty microphone as I change the sound here. And this will probably be about 18 minutes and 6 seconds because I have a timer going. I may come back after the timer. I'm cooking some chicken. Not that that matters. Anyway. All right, so this is a souvenir book for a science fiction convention, for those of you that don't know. And I'm working in InDesign, which is a multi-page layout document sort of deal. They are working with a document that does not have full bleed, which is why there are these little borders around the outside. Full bleed would mean that the image goes completely off the side. Can't do that, and that's fine. We also are working mostly in black and white. There are 20 interior pages. There's a cover that's full color, and it's on basically it's an 8.5 by 11 book. So you would print that on 11. It's being printed on 11 by 17 sheet. So you'd say like a sheet, and that equals 4 pages. The cover is a color sheet, so there's 4 pages. The interior is 5 sheets, so 20 pages. Let's make sure that's right. 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah. We're at 16 right now. We were a little unclear whether it was going to be 16 or 20, so I designed for 16, but now I get to add an extra sheet, aka 4 pages. So the first tricky bit is figuring out where to insert that. We have 16 pages, so page 8 is the middle, and then we do this. Oops, we can do that. I think a better way. Insert pages. There we go. All right, and we go 4. And then up here are parent sheets, which are basically templates, which is why you get this pattern on all these black and white sheets, because I'm using the parent sheet here. There's also a color pages one here, which I think is identical to this blank one, but I'm going to go ahead and use it in case I decide to make like a background or something like that. So we do this, we go color pages, and it should insert 4 sheets right here. Boom, done. Awesome. All right, and then the next thing we do is we grab this bacon ad, bacon, and we move it because it is in the black and white section. There we go. And then we decide whether we want to open the color section with that. By default, hidden spreads. Okay, cool. Thank you, InDesign. Hidden spreads, automatic exclusive page number. Okay, thank you again, InDesign. All right, so I think we do this. Come down here and align things. I think I can align to page as opposed to spread. Yeah, there we go. Oh no, the wrong page. It's the wrong trousers, Gromit. All right, so there. Then these other pages are going to be artwork, which we already have. So I'm going to grab this and that. This is artwork from our guest of honor, Alan M. Clark. I don't know whether he prefers the M in pronunciation, but that's how it is on the professional part of it, so we're going to go ahead and just use that. We're going to turn that back to spread, although I'm going to have to turn it back to page in a minute, but that's how things go. We're going to center that up. These lines here are where that little margin needs to be, so all of this is my space right in here. My space. So that's why his name can be right there and it's not going to get cut off. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Then we're going to come down and grab the other one. Or we're not, because it's not there anymore. I wonder if I moved it off the side so far that it disappeared. Okay, but we have it. I know I moved it off the side, so where did it go? Oh, there it is. I was like, wait a second. So let's grab that. Let's go here. Let's grab here. So yeah, this is the exciting world of book design and typesetting. Now this one goes clear out to the edges. So that means we want to keep his name in the artwork. So I'm copying it from the other one because I want the placement. Actually, I don't want the placement to be same. I want it to be the same from the edge here. So we'll go ahead and, oh shit. I don't know what happened there, but let's not do that anymore. So let's go down to here. Let's click on this page. And it stuck it somewhere else. I might be using the wrong shortcut keys. I probably am. All right. Yeah, there we go. I thought there was a way to paste things in place. I was using the Illustrator one, and as I've gone off on several times... Oh, no, it is that one. It's probably just pasting it right on top of the old one. Oh, no, it's on this page over here. Duh. Okay, cool. So that's the height that I want it, basically. So we can smart guide it this way. Get rid of that one. I want this on the outside, because that just is aesthetically better. And then I'm kind of eyeballing this here. Like, typography is a lot of tiny, tiny, tiny nuancy bits. And so in reality, if I really wanted to make this equal size, I do something like that. I was only off by that little smidge, as you saw, which to the eye, to the regular eye, is probably fine. But just so I got all my ducks in a row, which is a euphemism. All right, so now what that does is that messes up all the interior pages, but also opens up opportunities. The other thing I'll think about is whether I want a black background on this, which I think I do, which means I'll have to change the color of that. But the white border's not the greatest. All right, so I can do this on just this page because I definitely am not going to use it for these other two, but in order to kind of show you what you should be doing, because in theory you'd have more color pages than just those. And so this is a perfect example of why you use master pages. Oh, my eyes are all fuzzy. I did a bunch of work this morning and I'm probably tired. All right. And then I could, oh yeah, let's do this. Because this is a color page, I can actually build a rich black, which is different than a K. K is black. So CMYK, cyan, magenta, yellow, black. That's what all colors are built out of in 4-color printing, which is different than RGB, which you use digitally, which is red, green, blue. It's additive versus subtractive color. You can look all that stuff up if you want. So in a black and white part of it, you only can use black ink. But in a color part of it, you can build what's called a rich black out of the other 4 inks. And let's do this. And the rich black, in theory, will look nicer in color. So I'm going to look up a code, because you can do a bunch of different ones. Right. Some printers actually prefer different types or different ones. Oh, interesting. So they do want 100%. That's what I see mostly online, so we'll try it out. All right, so I am going to leave that. Basically, these three need to add up to 300% or less. So we're going to do that. Now, Alan, the artist guest of honor, told me, and this is actually going to work out fine. He uses in his rich blacks, or his color profile for his CMYK stuff, he wants to top out at 360, I want to say. And I believe that I treated his art that way, though I'm going to have to check on this one. I'm pretty sure I did it on that one, but I'll have to check on that one as well. And so this is under that. This is 240 right now. All right. So that is our rich black. I don't know why there's still word color in here. You can go fuck yourself. Oh, I bet it's those QR codes I just imported. All right, off they go. This red I was using to do markups and stuff, so that's why that's in there. And even this red is not red, right? It's 100% yellow and magenta. There we go. Okay, so we have created a rich black master page, and now all of these pages that are indicated as color pages have that background. I originally had the color pages with some text stuff, as you can see, because now all kinds of weird shit has happened. So what we can do, though, is we'll just drag this down to here. And we'll drag this to there. InDesign has this weird thing where it... oops, I just dragged the color ones down there. But unless you cover the whole thing, see, now it turns into it. Where this one, for example, stayed this because that. So weirdly, the workaround on that is you have to do this stupid shit. There. Now that turned into a black and white page. So there might be a different way to do that. It may be that I'm just doing it wrong, but honestly, whenever stuff like this comes up, I usually just blame Adobe because that's the easiest. All right, so in theory, there is a black, yeah, there it is, because this doesn't go all the way to the edge. So now I have to decide, is that really what I want, is this little black edge on this thing? And it's not, and I don't want to make, this image extends well off the sides. So I could expand it to fill the space. It would make the head bigger, but I kind of like where the head is now as far as placement and all the rest of that. So I'm going to leave it. I don't mind this wider white gutter in the middle here. So in order to activate master page items on individual pages, you do a shift control click. And see, I've now selected this. It's now editable. It means that it won't ever go back to its original form, but I could do this and just do that. But since I'm editing it, I might as well just delete it because we don't need it. And just to be safe, oh yeah, because the Bacon ad does it too. We're just going to do this. Oh, because it's the inside gutter. So I could have told Bacon, I think they sent this in and everybody was just kind of fine with it, which is good. It's slightly smaller than size, but I didn't want to, actually I can cut off a little more of the sides on this. It's not that big of a deal. Actually, how we'll do this is Yeah, so right now down here you can see it's 8, which is the height, by 10.3. It should be 10.5. I'm okay making the height larger. So we'll do this. Oop. As you could see, it's stretched because I didn't have this locked. And that I definitely don't want to stretch their art. That is a shitty thing to do. There we go. Okay. And then we expand this out, or we do a Control-Alt-C, which makes the border of the image go out to the border of the art. And then we center it, because now we're centering on the long side. And then I don't even actually have to nip this. I can just do this kind of thing. There we go. Because we are going to get space over in here is fine for the gutter. Just in case, I guess. So there we go. All right, so they're all set. Now, the panelists are broken over the artwork, which isn't super great, but I have enough space to move this page to here, and everything's fine. So I could cut and paste all this stuff and do that, but instead I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to grab this one and do that. So now we are still 4 color pages after page 8, right in the center of the book. The panelists got, oh, yeah, the panelists got messed up. So that's fine. I can move those around. That is the C and the D, so this just does that. All right, and now panelists start on the right-hand side. They're still alphabetical. There's a little space here. I have some QR codes that I need to add, so that'll work out great for the QR codes. Yay. And now, the cool thing is, I have all of this space left for these articles and testimonies and whatnot that are all super crammed together. And like this sort of awkward nonsense where what I really want is this to be down in here somewhere. Right? And then maybe you get an illustration here, or maybe I slide this down and make an illustration, fill up all of this space. These are all going to become cool design decisions. Then these biographies are going to kind of spread out a little bit. What I'll do is I'll shift these memories down and have them take up another space. So I think I'll put the blank space. What is this, page 5? Yeah, put the blank space there. All right, that's looking good. All right, so these Orycon memories kind of fill up the space. I can put another illo right in here. I can deal with this little widow or orphan, however you want to call it. That's basically when like a piece of text pops over, like this isn't great. This piece of text needs to be here, or another line of text needs to be here, so you have at least 2 lines. This isn't good either. There's another one. So that's the thing that I'll sort of check. And you check that near the end, because they could come back with notes, basically. They're like, hey, we need this stuff changed in a certain way. And so for me to do all the widow and orphan control earlier than that means that I'll have to go back through and do more orphan widow control, and those orphan and widows that were controlled may not have to be controlled anymore. So it basically messes everything up. So now what we're going to have is the letter. Then we're going to have these testimonials, which I'll have to come up with a title for. No, they're already here. Never mind. These are the testimonials. These are the biographies. And then there's this weird testimonial here. Interesting. Which I assume is... Oh, there's my alarm. All right. So I'm going to go deal with my chicken, and then I'm going to come back. And I think I can do that. Cool. And I can turn off this little doodad so that you don't have to watch a blank screen. And I will be back momentarily. All right, boys and girls, I am back. On the video version of this, I probably will edit this part out. I'm going to go up and have lunch in a few minutes, but because you waited so patiently, or if you were there, I'm going to do a little bit of work before I do that. And then after lunch, I'll come back and finish things up. So if you're that interested, I don't think anybody's watching me live right now, so you can just skip to the next video, I guess. But if someone was watching me live, then ta-da! All right, so this thing here needs to be part of this. And that is definitely not enough space for that. I'm pretty sure it will be, yeah. I want to format those the same as well. So, let's see. I'm going to connect all this stuff together. Oh, interesting. This was its own little deal. All right. Well, that's not optimal, but it'll work. Which kind of means, though, I can just move this wherever. Okay, cool. So now these things are separate deals, and this is a separate deal, and then we'll make Mr. Lawrence, forgive me if I'm mispronouncing that, if you ever watch it, make his the header. There we go. Oh, we still have plenty of space. So I don't even need to do anything about that part of it. And that's going to give me 3 full pages for that, which is awesome. Okay, so let's do this. There are more powery ways to use InDesign. I'm a pro-am, I guess, at best. I have done professional stuff on it. I feel like I'm pretty good at it. But I'm guessing they're, you know, legit book designers working for fucking New York Times or whatever. They can do more cool stuff. I don't know who this John guy is, so I'm going to go research that at some point as well, because most of the rest of these are people who have been guest of honors, and it's quite likely that he has as well. So because these are kind of the same weight, I'm going to go ahead and do an all cap on these. I'm not a huge all cap guy normally. Sometimes I am. And then we're going to, I don't know why I deselected that. I was just being dumb. And we're going to tone it down a little bit. We're going to tone these down a little bit. There we go. Actually, so I did this thing down at the end where I have all this fake newspaper headline stuff. Well, they're real newspaper headlines, but anyway, texture. And I did this kind of thing here. So let's copy that. And I did this to kind of make it blend into the newspaper background, like it was its own sort of headline. Hope you guys can hear me okay. This microphone. Let's see here. I'll do that. Talk a little louder. All right, so let's try the same sort of deal. That, because I like repeated motifs. Works okay. The little indent works okay for this one because it's not super long. Uh-oh. Gonna do it? Oh, yeah. The other thing I would have done if this wouldn't have worked is just tighten the kerning up really lightly. Oh, I have enough space. I wonder if I can do that. So to give Adobe a slight compliment here, or a compliment here, not even a slight, not even quantified, to give them a compliment, one of the things they have done, because I've used this program for like 20 years or whatever, this little, you see that little brownish arc thingy? Like that didn't used to be there. And that's fucking awesome, because I can basically look at this white space right down here where this text would fit really well, and I can do that and get a really nice parallel of what I want, and then I can just do that kind of thing. That didn't work as well as I thought it would. So let's try to stack it. No, stacking it isn't going to work either. Unless I do that. Oh, shoot. I made duplicates instead of... That's the thing that happens. I'm basically trying to increase the kerning, or sorry, the leading, which is the space between the lines. You have to have the text highlighted. Otherwise, your control down arrow just makes a copy. So, there we go. Now that is design. You may like it or not like it, but it is artsy. All right. Cool. All right, so I read through this. And that tells me nothing of whether or not he was a guest of honor or whatever he is. So now I go over to the web, the World Wide Web. And I just put his name and Orycon in there, and I find out looks like he might have been a chair. Convention 84. Yep. I'm guessing he chaired more than one. So for now, let's do this. And they can correct me. They can be like, hey, we want him to be called this thing instead. Like, okay. No biggie. Alright, and then that's a little, I don't like that gap, but I'm going to be okay with it because I think it's not going to look good tighter. So then we're doing a shift enter to create kind of a false little paragraph break there. And I'm doing that so that I can add a space or two. And I've done that with these other ones as well so that this stays a little bit away. There's probably a workaround on that down here somewhere with space. That's making the first two letters do the drop cap thing. That's making the drop cap. There's probably a space one in here, but that's just easy peasy thing for me to do. Okay, close up all this nonsense. And then we grab this little doohickey. That's a very specific double dash that I built. I used some M dashes and then kerned them together so that they touched. Yeah, there we go. And then there's 2 spaces in between these, like down here. And that is widow/orphan, which is going to be very easy to fix, hopefully. All right, so now we go to our paragraph styles. I do a lot of tongue clicking lately, that type of thing. It's probably pretty annoying. So I've talked about this before. I don't use pure black when I do text, even color text, because I want the option to do darker bits and lighter bits. Did I just do 70 for that? Fucking brain. And we're changing the color a little bit on it because it's rumored that will help dyslexic readers follow the paragraphs a little more because there's slight color change, and it's going to be a little more apparent when it's printed. So we'll see. Hopefully it won't be the exact opposite. It'll just be like a fucking dyslexic horror show. They're like, oh, I can't read this shit. All right, so that's what you want to do. So have that little break there. This, I believe, is sitting on the correct line. Let's zoom in. I have my baseline grid, which is like your line notebook paper, and I want to start on the second line down here because I did, it's 15 point leading, but I did lines every 7.5 so that I had a little flexibility where to put stuff. So this is correct. This is incorrect. So this needs to go up or down 1. Perfect. And that all still lines up all the way down. Okay. So that feels a little open spacey, like in here. So I might find a little piece of something to put in there, but for right now we're fine. All right. And I believe when I do it right up to the line, if I had planned it right, I get the thing that I want. Yep. Okay, so that's all good. So again, here's one of our little hang-in words. And again, we're going to wait until we get feedback, and then I'm going to go back and correct all of that stuff. That one's going to be a little harder. I'll probably do something like that. But then that'll, as you just saw, it shifted everything. So that's one of the things when you're working book design stuff, when they come back in and make like type changes on stuff, it seems like it's not that big of a deal, but it can be a huge fucking deal because it basically reflows everything that's connected to it afterwards. And then all of that has to be looked at again, and that's all time. And every time you open up the document, you have an opportunity to mess something up. This isn't going to work. So, oh, this is a piece of art too. This isn't even, yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, that's good. So we're going to have to shrink this up just a teensy bit. Control-Alt-C to make the border. That actually didn't work very well. Let's do... What happens if I do this? Oh, it worked. Yeah, that looks a little more... Does it? I'm a little worried about that. I shouldn't worry about that, actually. I like it over here better, so I'm just going to leave it. And then here... we realize that I don't know whether or not the text is lined up the way that it's supposed to be. So I'm going to probably have to count this out. So let's do that right now. So line, 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 line. Perfect. I could put guidelines and stuff in there that would help me with that, like a second set. Oh, Brenda. But I'm not going to do something for a project that this, one, we're on a pretty good time crunch, but two, it's a relatively small document. This is a natural space, so I'll have to deal with that at the end as well. That's all good. That's all good. Is this not a thing? Yeah, okay. Oh, no, that worked great because it was all goofed. So this is a QR code that I think is the most important. It's the policies. So we're going to make this 2 inches, which I believe will still be readable. Throw this over here. These two are more optional. One of these is, I think it says memories. So I feel like that's the same stuff that's above, though there might be extra. And then personal schedule, I'm not sure what that is. So I'm going to check and see if the email that I got these in had like preferences of stuff or whatever. Because I can fit one more in there. Could just do that. That's, yeah. Oops. If I got rid of the doodad at the bottom, I can do 2. So yeah. Oh, shit. There we go. And then I may be able to fit that third one somewhere else, so I'll hold off on that. Yeah, I bet I could fit it at the end of that pretty easily. Fit it at the end of that pretty easily. So I'm gonna expand into this space. I'm gonna find a piece of art. All right, that's gonna be good for now. I'm gonna go get some lunch, and I may come back on this afternoon at some point. So see you then, or don't see you then, or if you're watching this in the future, doesn't matter. Thanks for checking it out. Thanks for supporting us. Have a good rest of your day.